I'm Doug Massey, and today I'm going to get into the 3 things that I truly believe all remote final expense and or life insurance agents are absolutely needing for success. And we're going to start with number 1 is your telesales presentation script. There's a bunch of things that need to happen in your presentation. And if you stick around until the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to get a copy of one of the presentations that we give out to agents that aren't contracted with us. It's still a good presentation, and in all transparency, it's not the one that we give to our agents. That's proprietary, so you'd actually need to be selling with us to get that. But stick around to the end of the video. I'll show you how to get a copy of this. It's a really good presentation, especially if you don't have anything else. As far as your presentation script is concerned, it's got to be clear about buying life insurance. Within the first minute of my presentation, I'm going to read to you something that it says in there. Now, Janet, I'm going to ask you some very simple and basic health questions that are going to allow me to determine what plans you qualify for, even if you've been turned down before by other insurance companies. And that way, I'm going to be able to give you the exact cost right now over the phone. Again, within the first couple of minutes, you need to make sure these folks know that this is about them buying life insurance. Period. You need to build rapport through your presentation. So your script should be designed to where you kind of go off and you talk about different things, maybe even funeral, family, even at some point you can even get into hobbies and what they're doing in their local area. But either way, you gotta build rapport during your presentation. You also need to get into the beneficiary. You want to talk about the beneficiary, who's going to take care of everything when you're gone, who's the responsible one, who do you want the money to go to. Once you've got their name, now you want to use the name of that beneficiary throughout your presentation. This kind of personalizes things so that at the end, when you go to close the sale, it's all about making sure the beneficiary, that person, isn't stuck with the client's bills, of course, or their funeral costs. Then you got to get into the medical questions. Let me tell you guys, one of the things that I know a lot of newer agents tend to do, and it's a really bad habit, is you just ask them, so what medications do you take? And they'll tell you, well, I take this and I take that. And you don't dig. I highly recommend you need to tell these folks, listen, Janet, I need you to do me a big favor. I need you to get up off the couch and go grab all your prescription medication bottles, even the ones you're not taking anymore. And if you've got one of those lists from the doctor, grab that too. Make sure you know exactly what each medication is for, and don't just listen to what they tell you, because some folks get things mixed up, and the next thing you know, they're saying, oh yeah, I take, from high blood pressure, I take, and then they'll name a pill that has nothing to do with high blood pressure. Make sure you know what they're taking it for when you do the underwriting. Then, of course, you've got to get into the product presentation. In other words, you want to get into the company. Once you know which carrier you're selling them, you want to talk about the company. You want to get into the riders. Again, this is all part of building trust, value, and rapport. That's what you're doing throughout your presentation. You want to talk about the different types of coverage and the guarantees that are involved with the product that you're selling them. And of course, you have to have a very strong close. One of the biggest fails for new agents is they don't really close the client. They just they go off script and they say, well, here's the costs. And they kind of do it in a way that leaves the client to think, oh, okay, great. Well, look, I'm going to get back to you at another time. So great. Your close needs to be solid. Like, one of the things I teach my agents is to do the close exactly the way I've got it written in the script. The reason my presentation is proprietary and I won't just share it with everybody is because it's something that we've been developing for, and I'm not exaggerating this, for 7 years. It has changed so much over those 7 years just because the way the industry is, and because we found certain things work a lot better than others. I'll give you a good example. Back when I had my little insurance agency call center, I don't know how to describe that, but basically I had a handful of agents selling out of an office. The presentation that we used built a bunch of rapport in the beginning. If you were one of my agents back when I had that office, you were not allowed to give the client the quotes or the cost until you had spoken with them for at least 30 minutes, because it takes time to build rapport. So we don't do things that way anymore. We actually, once they give an objection, we take advantage of the objection to build rapport then and to build value in the product then. And of course, you have to do a good cool down. Once you close the sale, once you get them approved, you got to just speak with them for at least a few minutes about anything non-insurance related. So just that's when you might get into their hobbies, things they do, and kind of relate to them that way. That way you're not just doing like a hit and run. Build the rapport in the beginning and throughout the presentation. And then once you close the sale, you have to finish that by spending a little time cooling things down. Very, very important. The second thing that you absolutely want to have is a very good exclusive, let me repeat that, exclusive lead. In other words, no one else is ever going to get this lead again. To me, that is huge. The best leads, in my personal opinion, that we're seeing are really, number one, I really think the best actual lead itself is the TV lead. But the problem with the inbound TV leads, okay, not the ones you're calling back, but the ones where the client sees the TV commercial, they call in and you, the agent, answer the phone. To me, that is the best lead, and it's not normal for most independent agents to use because it's expensive. They go for like $65 to $85. At one point, we were getting them, and the cost went from $65 to like $100 each. So that just doesn't work. That kind of cost, it doesn't work. The second thing is, when they run the TV commercials, it's all about the time available through the stations. One week they may run, for example, 1,000 commercials. The next week they may not be able to run more than a couple of hundred. So what that means is, if you're supposed to get like 6 to 8 of these inbound leads a day, there's going to be times when you maybe get 1 or 2 or 3 a day. And I've spoken with agents that were supposed to get like a lot in every day, and they told me, oh, there's weeks that go by where I only get a couple a day. So imagine sitting around for 8 hours waiting for 2 or 3 calls to come in. That just doesn't work. That's why, in my opinion, for independent agents, the most viable lead, the one that makes absolute sense, is the calendar lead, or calendar appointment lead is what it really is. So you may have to buy one of those expensive funnel systems, and I would suggest don't buy it unless you're really good with technology. I've had multiple agents spend between $5,000 and $8,500 to have it put on their computer and maybe connected to their Facebook and be taught to use it, and then still not be able to use it. And later on complaining, well, I'm paying $50 a lead. That doesn't work. Or they're not getting appointments. That's where companies like mine, and we're not just the only one that does it. What we do is we set up the funnels and everything for the agent, and we personalize it. In other words, when the client clicks on the ad and it takes them to the agent's landing page, the landing page actually has the agent's information and photo and everything. And then what it does is it gives them an option to set an appointment. And a good funnel system like the one we use, 50% of the people that fill out the lead form will actually make an appointment to speak with you about getting a quote for affordable burial insurance. And number 3, very, very important, you got to have the right products, the right carriers. Okay, so I'm going to mention a carrier that I have never mentioned before. If you look at my top 5 that I actually did back in December compared to my top 5 today, that has totally changed. And when I say top 5 carrier products. The carriers that you'll want, what I recommend as an independent agent, SBLI, and it's not the SBLI that's connected with Prosperity. This is a completely different SBLI. And if you need a contract and you're actually a producing agent and can prove it, you can get the contract. You can get some of the best contracts through us, actually. SBLI, they are a game changer. Here's why. I did the numbers this morning. I looked at all the applications and all the sales that my agents made through with the SBLI product. I concluded that only 7.5% of those applications were either declined or offered other than applied for. 7.5%. That's crazy. Like, if you're dealing with companies like, I don't know, Transamerica, you're lucky if you can get approval by 60%. So the fact that they're approving, and this is what we've seen so far with right around 100 applications, because they're still new to us, 92.5% is crazy. And that's the approval percentage we're seeing. So SBLI may just be my number 1 carrier right now. I don't know. It's in the top 3 for sure. A second product that you absolutely want to have is the Lumico product. This is the one. This is brand new to us. They've been around for a couple of years, but they got to the point where they've got a few things figured out. Lumico, it's nice because it insures people from 40, they go down a little bit younger than most carriers, 40 to 85 years old. So you've got that age range, and it's super competitive. Their prices are like always in the top 5. Very, very highly competitive product. The other thing about Lumico that I love is they've got these quarterly bonuses. The quarterly bonus, if you place 30 applications in a quarter, so we're talking 10 sales a month, 30 in a quarter, they're gonna give you a $200 bonus per application. And yes, you can get that Lumico contract through us too. Then you've got American Amicable, great standard product. They have the most competitive return of premium product there is. If the client has a lot of health issues, you can still sell them a straight product. It may be return of premium, but it's competitive. The price isn't like sky high like Transamerica's graded, for example. For guaranteed issue, Great Western and AIG. To me, some of the best carriers to have: SBLI, Lumico, American Amicable, you got Great Western and AIG for guaranteed issue. So guys, I'm gonna give you 3 more tips. To me, this is kind of important. One of the things that you have to understand if you're brand new is it's gonna take time for you to get through the learning curve. So you need to give yourself a break, 1. And 2, you need to make sure you've got enough funds put aside to do this business. There's a reason that like 90% of the insurance agents in the industry fail out in the first year. And those are the type of numbers that we see from like your typical 3-letter multi-level marketing insurance agencies. It's like more like 95% of the agents that come to them fail. One of the reasons we have such a high success rate and we're not struggling like those other companies is because we make sure, 1, the agents that come on and work with us, you've got to have money saved. You've got to have money to invest into this as if it were a business. And 2, you got to give yourself a break. Again, the learning curve, it's different for everybody, but at least with us, when you're making like 8 to 10 presentations a day, which is what you should be able to build up to by your 2nd or 3rd week, by that time, you've gotten through most of the learning curve. So now it's just about doing the right thing for your client. It's just about following the presentation and doing the stuff that I recommend when I listen to your presentations. You got to have a strong work ethic. If you don't work, it won't work. Agents that try to do our business part-time, like 99% of them fail. So you might as well go to a multi-level marketing company with 3 letters if you want to do this part-time. You're probably not going to succeed anyways. And very important, you have to have a system of overcoming basic objections. So one of the things that we do is we teach our agents to simply treat an objection as if it were part of the application process. Because they're all going to say, well, I need time to think about it. And then we're going to teach you how to deal with that. And then afterwards, they're going to go, well, I still got to talk to my kids first. We teach you how to deal with that in a way that builds up the product. It builds rapport. And that way, when you do go back to reclose, they go, all right, let's go ahead and get started. For a copy of the final expense telesales presentation that I mentioned earlier in the video, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. If you'd like more information on our final expense telesales platform, we only work with full-time agents that are serious about their business. But if you'd like more information on that, you can shoot me an email at that same address. Remember, guys, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now get out there or get on that headset and do something good for someone else today. Happy hunting.